Tune in to Heel of the Ring podcast on the Sports Jedi Network channel. May the sports be with you, because I am the hero the Sports Jedi deserves, but not the one it needs right now. Long live Lexus King.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Sports Jedi Network. Heel of the Ring podcast here with BX Sports Jedi Kev. What's going on? Hope everyone's doing well. This is your NXT review from last night, the 22nd edition of July. But I actually want to talk about Jacy Jayne. Jacy Jayne is your dual champion. And I have to ask this question to you guys. Is Jacy Jayne the queen of professional wrestling currently right now? What Jacy Jayne is doing right now, she's won on both major brand companies of the North American wrestling scene with TNA Impact, Knockouts Champion. I was at Slammiversary. I was in attendance in the UBS Arena, saw the match firsthand, saw the victory for Jacy Jayne. And when I look at Jacy Jayne, this is a girl that I've been watching from 2.0, where, one of the reasons why I really fell in love and gravitate to the NXT brand, and I've said it, was that time when Toxic Attraction won their second title reign. When they took on it, they beat Raquel Gonzalez and Dakota Kai and I started watching her career, watching her with Mandy Rose, with Gigi Dolan. And I used to tell my wife all the time, Jacy Jayne has the mannerisms of a real heel. She got the look, the facials, the mannerisms down packed for her as a heel. Now, there were some times that you could see her journey where you could say she needed more rings, she needed more bumps, she needed more time. Especially when they separated Toxic Attraction and she went on that solo route. I think, what I saw from Jacy Jayne, and as I watch her career currently until this day now, her microphone skill, her mannerisms have always been there. That talent has always been always there for her, sharp. The in-ring is getting much greater, much better. Because she's not on Marsha Slimovich's level in technical wrestling. You could agree or disagree. You could debate that. But at the end of the day, for her, what I see going on right now is Shawn Michaels' influence. I see a lot of Shawn Michaels' influence from her trajectory, as Shawn was a former tag team with Marty Jannetty. We all know about that. We saw Shawn Michaels break away from Marty Jannetty with the barbershop, as you remember when Jacy Jayne finally broke away from Gigi Dolan. It was at the Ding Dong Hello, the famous door where Gigi Dolan went through the door, and of course that shot there. The only difference was between Shawn Michaels and Marty Jannetty, and even for that matter, those feuds between Shawn and Marty that I recall didn't really hit. They weren't the greatest one-on-one matches at that time. And I think Gigi and Jacy Jayne, their matches on NXT also didn't really hit. They didn't really leave that, wow, these two ladies' animosity. It wasn't the chemistry was not there. I personally thought that those matches were going to go, to their biggest show of the year. And they just did them on regular TV Tuesday nights, which is okay. My point is that I see a lot of similarities to parallel trajectory when it comes to Jacy Jayne, Shawn Michaels. We all know the famous shot with Shawn Michaels with the European title. It's different. It's two different brands, but European title and the world title at the same time, WWF title at that time. And Jacy Jayne holding those two titles. I see a lot of Shawn Michaels influence where when I was watching wrestling at that time, Shawn Michaels, when he won that Intercontinental, the British Bulldog, you really couldn't believe it because Bulldog was a made guy. Bulldog at that time was over, and Shawn was his up and comer. At least me, maybe I was naive at that time at my age watching wrestling as a fan at that time. But Shawn Michaels is a singles He wasn't the biggest guy. He won Intercontinental, and then he just took off. They gave him the opportunity there. I think, he solidified himself with those Razor Ramon matches and the ladder matches at WrestleMania 10 and so forth. For Jacy Jayne, is there a Razor Ramon for her to get solidified as this made woman? Right now, she's making history, like it or not. Where a lot of people thought she was a transitional champion, holding the titles for Jordan Grace, Blake Monroe, but not. This is not the case. The WWE and Shawn Michaels and Creative and even TNA Creative see something in Jacy Jayne that the regular fans doesn't. Look, everybody got enamored when it came to Toxic Attraction, where it was Mandy Rose was the star that came from the main roster down to NXT. Everyone was excited to see that star with her work come down to NXT and grace the folks on NXT. Also with Gigi Dolan, let's face it, she was the more voluptuous in features of the Toxic Attraction tag team duel. Jacy Jayne, like she said in her promo, felt like she was the third wheel. But Jacy Jayne didn't deter her from continue persevering and working, becoming a heel. One thing I understand that she kind of floundered a little bit on her one-on-one on our own. I thought myself that Jacy was going to be relegated to be a tag team. She works extremely well as a tag team. We saw that with Fallon Henley. We saw that at times with Jasmine Nix. I'm gonna be honest with you. I was totally shocked when she beat Stephanie Vicaire. I thought that Stephanie might have got concussed, a mistake, missed a kick out. No, that was the finish. Now that I see how they continue to book her and the opportunities that Jacy Jayne has had on the week-to-week episodic television of NXT, she's the real deal. She's won a lot of people over, including this one. I didn't have a doubt with her. I thought it was going to be, quick transitional. I am going to be honest with you. I thought it was going to be a transitional that what we seen with her on the microphone and her mannerisms doesn't shock me one bit. I just thought that the opportunity was going to be shortchanged for her, and I'm glad that WWE, NXT, and the creative are giving her this title reign, this opportunity to continue to make history. Expect the unexpected in the world of sports entertainment. Vince McMahon used to always say that anything can happen in the world of World Wrestling Entertainment, and anything can happen at any given time in the ring. And right now, it's Jacy Jayne proving everyone wrong. She is entertaining. She forms this group with Fatal Influence. Someone say, "Oh, it's a Toxic Attraction 2.0 ripoff," but here's a chance to get two other ladies in the NXT brand over. Getting Fallon Henley, who's a veteran as well, and there's a storyline when it came to Jacy Jayne. She said it on her promo on NXT on Tuesday night. It's no newbies coming from the outside, no independent wrestler. It was no NIL darling. It was someone who's been there, an OG, who's been there for I believe she was been 4 to 5 years in the NXT brand, and now finally getting the opportunity and running with the ball. And Fallon Henley has been there for 3 to 4 years as well, teaming together, common goal. Now taking Jasmine Nix under their wing and trying to groom her into the right way. It's all in all a win situation. I see a lot of DX click getting together there with Fatal Influence, getting that nucleus there with those ladies. Also, great exposure for her to go to NXT or to TNA, to wrestle in TNA with. Let's face it, they do need that influx of lady heels in the company. In the Knockouts division, Marsha was running through. Marsha Slamovich, her number one contender is Ash by Elegance if she would have retained. Ash is a tag team champion. And right now, Marsha doesn't look like Tessa wants to. I don't know if the TNA wants to place Tessa in that title picture yet. Indy Hartwell just got into the company, but she's just a baby face to go up against Marsha. You're going to turn Marsha totally heel, and I don't think so. Killer Kelly just returned from maternity leave, so the herd is a little thin. Where you got Jacy Jayne, who got different matchups, fresh different matchups for the Knockouts division when it comes to Ling Ying Ning or Zaya Brookside, and there's so many different where we know that there isn't a number one contender yet for Jacy Jayne to win the title, but there's still storyline progressive for Emergence, Victory Road, and then you get to Bound for Glory, and then anything can happen there. Maybe Indy Hartwell gets that momentum with the people behind, and you have a Indy Hartwell, Jacy Jayne for the Knockouts title or for both titles. Who knows, whatever they're booking, they're going to go there. Listen, I wanted to talk about that. I wanted to talk about Shawn Michaels' influence on this. I see a lot of Shawn Michaels with living through Jacy Jayne or borrowing some of his experience or his storyline or path into Jacy Jayne. And I think, I wouldn't be surprised if that's one of his pet peeve, one of his pet projects to make her all shine. And if Jacy Jayne listens to the Heartbreak Kid, she's going to continue to make money, continue to be on top, and continue to make sense and be right now possibly the queen of professional wrestling right now. I understand. I know people probably are eyebrowing me right now. Oh, Timeless is doing well, CEO's doing well, Io Sky, but when you're the first ever WWE woman to hold two major titles for that company, you're doing something and you have just stapled your name in wrestling history books. So kudos to Jacy Jayne to stapling her name in wrestling history books. And this is what I gotta say. I think that's where Jacy Jayne is, and it's been a pleasure watching her from her 2.0 day with Toxic Attraction, winning those women tag team titles off the ladder. Now seeing her here with double champion. Kudos, Jacy Jayne. You're made at least myself proud. My wife is very happy for you. We'll see where it goes from here. No need to rush her to the main roster just yet. If the title's on her for a while, great. She's compelling. We know that Blake Monroe and Jordan Grace are going to go tear each other apart. And maybe that's, down the road, one of those two ladies become a number one contender for Jacy Jayne in the near future. Or even, I hope they don't do it. They kind of tease a little dissension where, again, before and again yesterday with Fatal Influence with Fallon and Jasmine Nix. If anything, I could see Jasmine Nix being the one stepping up, but she's not ready in the wrestling pecking order to step up to a Jacy Jayne right now. She's got a lot of developing to do, and that's not a bad thing. Sometimes it takes a little more. She needs more bumps. Rarely see her getting active, so we'll see where that goes. Where Fatal Influence and for the TNA brand as well as NXT. I wanted to talk about something about NXT I saw yesterday. That really impacts TNA. No pun intended. It kind of felt. I don't know how you guys. It kind of felt that both TNA and WWE agreed that they wanted to have that TNA World title in a segment with The Undertaker. And if that's the case and you passed on a greater opportunity to put Mike Santana over for The Undertaker to just have that moment there and have, I don't know how that's going to sit with TNA fans or wrestling fans. Look, Taker has been great. No, don't. This is not a disrespect to the dead man. No disrespect for Undertaker. He's one of the great legends of all time. What his body of work has done, great. But right now, it feels he's if that's the case. Again, there's no proof. It's a little bit too much for him. You're imposed. Great to see you on LFG. Great for you to give feedback as a coach. But now it's becoming a little bit too much. We heard that he wants to be part of creative and storylines. Great, that's no problem. Give back to the wrestling business. That's what it's all about. But then you pigeon force your wife onto LFG and remove Mickie James. That's according to the reports. I don't know if that's facts or not. According to alleged reports from the dirt sheets, that's what happened. Now we're seeing a lot of force fed of Michelle McCool. I'm going to say this and I'm going to say this again. I don't think Michelle McCool was a Hall of Famer in front of other ladies. That's just my opinion. Does she belong in the Hall of Fame? You could debate that, but not at the moment where there was other ladies who should have been in the Hall of Fame before Michelle McCool. I'll leave it as that. You know the names. Then we saw Michelle McCool. Kind of feels too much forcing yourself onto the wrestling. Talk about a baby face that gets forced down your throat. Undertaker feels like he's forcing himself down retirement, being on the spotlight, which some people will like it or not. He's not going to get physical. All I say, thank God that Undertaker didn't lead to a match where an LFG wrestler was going to wrestle Trick Williams for that TNA title, I would have been really upset, irate, and right now I'm feeling disappointed. But I would have been irate, upset. Yeah, I would have kept watching. Yes, I know. You said, well, you would have keep watching. I would have kept watching. Yes, because TNA. Let's face it. I am very humbly happy what TNA's done for us on our channel. From again, I can't stop giving thanks and flowers to Carlos Silver for joining us for the interview on our network, as well as VP Ross Foreman, who made the things happen. Appreciate you guys, and Amanda Fuentes, great people at TNA brand for this channel. Again, I want to always give them their flowers. I'm always going to be grateful and with a lot of gratitude towards those people in NXT, TNA, excuse me, for TNA. Now, for when it comes to the decision, that's creative. I'm not gonna get that. But I still feel disappointed that Mike Santana didn't go over. Couple days later, I understand it makes what the business model they're doing with it. But man, if that was just for Taker at that moment, where listen, I know they want to secure a big TV deal for them and go live. I get that. And maybe Undertaker with that title, I don't know if that was gonna, maybe I don't know what they think, what their metrics, what their analytics say, or whatever the case is. For reasons, they're ahead of major corporation when it comes to Anthem, Evicta. The man knows what he's doing. The man has been successful with PFL. So I gotta trust the process, even though at the moment I don't see the end of the tunnel, the light at the end of the tunnel. But I know he has a process. He's calculated risk. These guys, hey, look, we're all human. If he makes a mistake, he makes a mistake. I don't know. I don't know if they ever get that moment back with Mike Santana, UBS Arena. I don't know. I still feel disappointed. But then we don't know the end results. We're going by the moment now. We don't know at the end if it was worth the wait. A lot of people say the Cody Rhodes story was well worth the wait. Instead of winning in 39, it felt great in 40 when they had the Avengers come out and help him out, and Andre the Giant and Adrian Adonis and everybody else and their mother came out to give him that rope, win that title. Everybody liked it. So I don't know what's going to happen. Maybe they have that type of similar finish where it's TNA talent come out and take away all the interference that Trick has up his sleeve for an NXT. I don't think they're going to do an invasion angle. Everybody wants this invasion angle. It's too low hanging fruit. I think they're going to be innovative. They're going to be creative when it comes to the way they're going to inaugurate the TNA new champion after Trick Williams. But listen, one thing I'm going to say with that, we have to wait and see the payoff. Right now, the venues that are in place for TNA upcoming pay-per-views, premium live events are not in favor of a Mike Santana crowd. You're going to Lowell, Massachusetts, where it's Boston Red Sox territory. Everyone knows this kid is from the Bronx. Everybody knows he's a big Boricua, big Bronx Boricua energy. I don't know if Boston wants to see a Yankee. I'm gonna put it great and go into and cheer for him to win a world title. It's just wrestling. Stranger things has happened. But still, at the end of the day, he's a New Yorker. He's a Bronx New Yorker, a proud Bronxite. I don't know if their Boston will be behind him. I don't know. They one thing I got to say, they cannot continue to make this a multi-man match. If they're going to go with this Trick Williams, whoever it is, whether it's Mike Santana, whether it's Joe Henry, whether it's Frankie Kazarian, whoever is the next number one contender for that TNA world title, please, I beg and I urge TNA to make it a one-on-one. Enough with the triple threats, fatal four-way, and especially when it comes to Trick Williams. Trick Williams, you're great. You're awesome. Look, Trick is a one-of-a-kind athlete, a friend, and I got the proof, friend of the program. I've met him many times. Was at his premiere. Trickin' Ain't Easy, his YouTube premiere. And his party, but it's plenty of time with him. Again, it's no disrespect. You're a talented generational wrestler, but we need you to now Start winning a couple matches before you drop it one-on-one. Because when you get to Raw and SmackDown, you're not going to have triple threats, fatal four ways in your matches. You have to show the wrestling world that you're a one-on-one wrestler who could wrestle one-on-one and get yourself over. We know you can. I'm not saying you can't. I'm not saying that. Do not misinterpret that you cannot. But you need to start your title reigns defending it one-on-one. Whether it's Jake, something if TNA wants to place that out there, and I don't want to pick on you, Jake, or Mustafa Ali, if they're gonna pigeon that before they're gonna divert with Joe Henry and Santana's gonna have a program. Although I think personally, we'll see. Tomorrow we'll be live doing the TNA watch along, but we'll see what TNA goes. A little bit about Monday Night, not Monday Night Raw, at TNA. I'm all tongue tied. NXT last night. Get a little bit of a review there. I thought the Ricky Saints and Jasper Troy was a little funky, especially with that giving of that platform. One way to keep Ricky Saints looking strong and not giving Jasper Troy a definitive loss was that count out loss to Ricky Saints. It won't hurt him as much. For Jasper Troy, continues to be this obstacle, this monster. But I don't know what's the end game when it comes. It's too early for him to go back for that world title. And you can't make him lose too many matches. So I would like him to go. I don't know. It'd be interesting. I want to see how they book them. What I thought was interesting, weird, or strange eyebrow raising when Dark State came out with the calling. The calling feels like a cult or a family or dark. They're a cult. They're themselves. And then you had Dark State. Now a little too much of the similarities there. Zarya and Sol Ruka, Hank and Tank. I mean, it was a little feel good put together, but then Dark State came and it felt weird. I don't know what Dark State's intention was. We saw them lose to Matt Cardona and the System. I don't know if that feud is done. I believe that's done and over with that. When it comes for Dark State, who are they targeting? I was very confused with Dark State there on who's their next target. They just come out and say, hey, we're here. I don't know. I want to take them serious, but when I see Sean Sugars do all this little stupid dancing, I check out. I'm like, come on, you're supposed to be this mean. I'm gonna, menacing group, and then you're doing your little dance in the aisle. I'm like, you start twerking or dancing. I'm like, you know what? You lost me. I don't know what's gonna happen with them. Right now, to me, and I think a lot of people in the internet community, they're not resonating, they're not hitting, they're not checking the boxes. All right, they come out, they come out kind of Shield like Wyatt type deal, and then the ring begins, and it's just okay. I don't know. I don't know what you guys think. They're not resonating. They're talented guys. All four men are very talented men. They all are individually talented, but something is missing collectively in this group. I don't know what exactly it is. If they're going, because it's hard to think they're going to get a major significant victory when we know that these guys will all level up left behind. And we don't know what, it's just something's not clicking when it comes to the Dark State, in my opinion. I hope you disagree with me. If you see the positivity or the uptick in the Dark State comment in the video, I kind of want to see it myself. I'm open-minded. I'm not totally telling them get off my TV. I don't have the go away heat when it comes to Dark State, but I want to know what's the end game. What's okay, and that's where I'm at when it comes to Dark State. That's all I'm asking for that. Now, I like the interesting concept with Iramura and Josh Briggs. They look like they're going to go at it. They're going to go, is Iramura going to snap? Is he going to go where he has to go? Or is it Josh Briggs being a good friend and taking him to that level to take him to that next level to put him over the top and probably conquer an NXT world title? Look, right now, Obafemi seems like an obstacle right now that cannot be beat. I don't know if WWE is borrowing the storyline from Leon Slater and Moose, which was a hell of a match there. It kind of looked like Taker egging on Javon Evans to go after the big yard in the big dog in the yard. It could be either Trick Williams or it could be either Obafemi. Trick Williams look, he's gonna have his hands full with some TNA talent. I don't know if that's an NXT talent that's going to pursue Trick Williams right now. And it looks like it's Obafemi and Javon Evans. Listen, that's going to be a one hell of a match when they get there, but they're borrowing a little bit from Moose and Leon Slater. There's nothing wrong with that at all. Maybe that's something for Bound for Glory. We get a Leon Slater and Javon Evans for Bound for Glory. I know some people are going to say, oh my God, here we go for the X Division title. I wouldn't be surprised if we see that. Personally, I personally said it earlier or a couple videos ago. I would love to see Mike Santana versus Obafemi, and Mike taking that title off of Obafemi at Heatwave. Heatwave is none, no, but here it is. You got about a month before the next Premium Live event, and it's going to be in the same place, Lowell, Massachusetts. The same thing applies. Santana wins the world title in Massachusetts. Again, I don't know what I think they really dropped the ball there. I wish the timing of the place was. I wish they would have had their TV deal in place already, where they already had it announced, signed, seal, deliver, and they would have went with Mike Santana, the face of the company, going into the new fall season with Mike as your champion. Although unless if they don't see Mike, I'm a face of the company for their television. I don't know what they think. I think you'll be totally foolish not to have that. You're opening up a Latin market with a Latin champion. Let's face it, the demographic here is a lot of Latin across the United States. And last time I saw, us Latinos, we love lucha libre. From Mexico to Puerto Ricans to Dominicans, we love professional wrestling. So I don't know what their statistics, where their analytics are coming from. I don't know who's doing it. What demographics they're keying into. I'm pretty sure they're much more smarter people than myself or anyone else. But right now, I still think they made a mistake with that. But I'm still harping on that. I'm still disappointed. I'm really disappointed with it. But all in all, I thought NXT was okay. It was a good show. It could have. I've seen better shows. I was a little disappointed for a live experience in Houston. I got to give credit to the Houston crowd. They were on fire. They were invested. They were ignited. Not a dull moment. They made the show feel better. Where really it was a little okay. It wasn't bad. I like Ethan Page bringing out that Canadian title. I love seeing Santino Marella on there. Santino's gonna have that match with Ethan Page. I guess that's just opening up a little bit. Maybe if Ethan Page beats him badly, where some TNA wrestlers have to come for Santino's defense. Although I think this is where we're going to see a Tessa Blanchard. I think Santino is going to wrestle on his way, almost have a chance to beat Ethan for that North American title. And I think that's what Tessa's going to come out. And I think we're going to see Tessa on NXT TV. Remember, she's suspended indefinitely from TNA, but she's not suspended indefinitely or not barred from NXT grounds. And I know WWE Tessa has worked different times as an extra, as a paramedic, in some type of Raw and SmackDown before. I think WWE thinks that maybe WWE be the only one company where she could actually work and be put over as a heel, where the nuclear heat, they don't know how to make money with it. I think TNA right now with their TV deal is a little bit is a little gun shy to keep Tessa on the top of the women's division, because where she still gets a lot of nuclear heat for something that happened past ago. I advise you to check out my interview with Destructive Nancy, where she talks about she had her privilege to wrestle Tessa in Puerto Rico for a long program, and she mentioned how wonderful Tessa is, how great of a fierceness she is. She made some mistakes and made some comments 10 years ago, but she's evolved and changed from 10 years ago as a person. And check out the interview. She vouches for her, and you'll see Tessa. I saw Tessa myself Saturday at that softball game. Very nice. Everyone speaking to her. She's just a heel when it needs to be heel at that time. Yeah, she's that type. But when she's not working, she's that. I see nothing but positive, nice things about her. I don't know her personally, but I've seen her in the same atmosphere, the same location. I've seen nothing but a lady that people gravitate and talk to and like. If you don't like someone, you don't talk to them, you ignore them. But they've been very friendly with her, and I don't know. But I think she'll be coming out. I think she'll be the one causing Santino losing an opportunity to win that title. I think she's gonna, and then we'll see what storyline goes from there. For that, again, the NXT review, I thought it was a fine show. It would have been, wasn't the greatest, it wasn't terrible, but it was okay. It was a good show there. I don't know what's Undertaker and Trick Williams is going to lead to. That's the one thing that left me confused. Is there a match going to happen here? Are we going to see Undertaker on TNA Thursday cutting a video promo? I wouldn't put that past me that he goes Trick, telling Trick he has a match with, I don't know. I don't know. Would it help TNA if Undertaker Videotron or via satellite show up? Absolutely. Absolutely. But I asked this question, and I'll leave this one. At the expense of Mike Santana? You answer that. And I am BX Sports Jedi Kev, and this is the Heel of the Ring podcast. Please like, share, and subscribe. Follow us, and leave a comment on the video below. We appreciate all the likes. We appreciate all the subscriptions, the super chats, and so forth. A great way to support our channel and our mission. We interview a lot of professional wrestlers from the independent scene to TNA, President Carlos Silver, Mike Santana, and WWE wrestlers coming soon. So we are getting ready to interview the world. So we want to prepare you to join us on our journey, and we could use your donations. So please, that video description is there. You could Cash App or send. Definitely can help our program with all the expenses. So we thank everyone for it. We appreciate all, and may the sports be with you. Don't forget, don't get kicked or pinned down by life. Always kick out and get yourself over. So we see you next time, my friends. Have a good one.